Let's see, right there. Alrighty, this is Doc from North America. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to 2022. It is 2022. Hooray for us. We live to tell. Alright, let's go over to the Dukascopy, make sure it's getting the feed. Imagine it is. There we are. And okay, that's good. There we go. Alright, you can see this morning Swiss moving down again. Dollar is losing some value. I saw some interesting stats over Sunday or Saturday. No, it was Sunday. It was like how the bank reserves are diminishing a little bit. So nothing major. The writer obviously tried to make it sound very scary. Tried to make it sound like you know, that everybody's given up on the dollar. It's like, I guess reserves. They showed a chart with a, you know, dollar reserves going all the way back into the 60s, and then you can see a big difference when the euro is created. You can see it during the inflation too. It got knocked down from inflation in the 70s, late 70s in particular, you know, and then popped up with Mr. Reagan, and then it's been on a sideways down move for a while, but nothing anywhere near as volatile, which is kind of surprising. And you know, it seems to be relatively mild. So I saw the article. I was going to save it for the webinar, and I thought, you know, this is more sensationalism than it is fact. But if I find it again, we'll go after it and take a look. But you know, to me, it's more sensationalism. It's been relatively dead since Ronald Reagan. The reserves have been going down. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, it's not like it's dramatic in any form, at least as far as I'm concerned. And we're not at the lows of any form either. So, you know, but that's the way it's going right now. Dollar today, you can see, looking against the Swiss there on J4X, you can see that it's, you know, it's 3 bars red and hinky. The white line's been under the dash line for like, you know, 4 or 5. Where's our fact check? Let's see what that says. I thought I had it open. There we go. Seems like it didn't open. Just double check. Oh, it did open. Alright, let's try that again. Did I close it? It should pop up. There you go. And so we'll see the fact check pop in here. And it's filling in. And there you go. And you can see the Swiss there on line 21. You know, 8 days now in a sell, 2 weeks in a sell. You know, the math has picked up the pressure. You can see J4X has picked up the pressure. Let's switch to that so you can see it on Chicago Quant. Chicago Quant has picked up the pressure. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure why it doesn't say Swiss on there, but where's your Swiss symbol? Alright, well, that's the Swiss. It just doesn't, we didn't write it on that chart, or it got erased off of it, more likely. You can see the pressure with all these red dots there. You know, it had its issues with that range. Now we'll see if it comes down and challenges this or plays with the 50 percentile, which is pretty much where we're at right now. It's like just below the 50 percentile. I'm not too concerned about the dollar anymore. You know, I mean, I haven't been that way for a long while, since quantitative easing and all the bankruptcies across the planet. You know, when I was young and on trading floors and involved in finance, you know, in the old days, we didn't like the idea of losing credibility. We were terrified. And I will go look for that chart now that I say that, because I think it should be seen. But what really has come down to it overall is that the dollar now is pretty much very comfortable because they control the whole planet. Everybody's in the hole. In other words, pretty much most of the countries that could have been competitive and, you know, been a place to run to is not there anymore. You know, we don't have to worry about China. They don't even have a currency that floats. So we know no one's going to run to China. I mean, that's just a fact of life. The Russian Federation, the ruble's just too cheap. I mean, it's 60 or 70 something. That's not gonna, that's not able to handle it either. Also, the economy's not big enough either. Neither China or Russia put together, as their economies are not even close to being, big enough. But what was interesting is that you could see the difference when the euro got going in 1999, 2000. You could see the change in the reserves, and I'm looking through that now, trying to find it. I should have saved it. U.S. dollar status dominant, global reserve currencies at 25-year low. That's it. There we go. I got it. So that is the part that really stands out is the fact that it really doesn't have a competitor, and China is not even remotely a competitor, which everybody thinks it is. So it's really crazy. Oh my God. They don't even have a currency that floats. I mean, you cannot have a world reserve currency that doesn't float. They think that the world is going to allow a fixed currency that goes up or down minuscule ticks. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine the bankruptcy of China that would be if they had to be the world reserve currency? They'd go belly up. All right, let me see if I can open this up. What I'm going to do is let me transfer it this way. Let's see if I go like that. Okay, that's it. I'm trying to transfer it over to the machine you're looking at right now. And then you'll see what I'm having our conversation about. There we go. And right there. Okay, there we go. We're opening it up. I'm going to bring it up onto the currency screen in another 3 or 4 seconds. It'll get there sooner or later. It's not expanding on me. But there it is. Okay. So there it is right there. And that shows you all the way back to 1967. This is U.S. dollar share of global reserve currencies. And then you can see, when the inflation thing with Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan beat up the inflation factor, you can see it took, went all the way to 91, which was interesting. It fell down. I mean, it fell from 85% of world reserve currency, which is a lot, down to 45, basically, or 46. And then you can see, it changed course altogether. The inflation debate abates. That's what it is. You see that inflation is gone. So this big long crash from 85% of the world to 45 basically percent. A 50% drop is inflation. Then you can see right here, right there, the euro. You see my mouse? Let's see if you see my mouse. Yeah. And so you see right here. Right there, see right there in that spot, that's like 2001, no more inflation, and it tops out in there from the World Trade Center thing, I guess. And the euro, oh no, that's what it is, the euro rise. So they start trading the euro. So finally, which everybody talked about. Now I've been involved in the market since, I guess like right around in here. All the way back in there, where that little dip is and so forth. And all everybody talked about was not losing credibility. I mean, that was the most important thing of all about the dollar reserve position, is just don't lose credibility. Well, when you see the world reserve drop like that, never really, I guess that was not on the tip of people's tongues. And so when the euro came out right here in the back end of all that right there, that's when we start to feel that we have an alternative. And that kind of makes sense. We're like 71%, 72%, and now it's down at a little below 60%. That's fine, and the euro is a legitimate pair trade, solely because they have some solid first of all, their currency floats. That's number one. You need a currency that can float. And then second of all, Europe and China are about the same. The only difference is that imagine if they had fixed the euro at, say, like, I don't know, 150 or 160 when it was up there, and it goes from 150 to, like, 130 and then back up to 150 again and so forth. Your GDP, if they fixed it at two euros to the dollar, your current, your GDP would look even bigger. The more your currency is, held and fixed, would make the GDP look larger. So in China's case, China can't step in and help out because they don't have a currency that floats, and so the end result is that it's locked in the 7 point something for a long while now, and it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it goes up to 7.7 or 7.6 and 7.5 or something like that. It floats around, but it's fixed. Imagine if they made it like the ruble, and it was trading in the 30s, where the ruble now is at the 70s. But imagine if it even got into the teens, even if it went to 14 and doubled, or 21 and tripled. Their GDP would be probably like 1 or 2% at that point. They wouldn't look like the demonstrative potential capitalist society that they're not anyway. So the end result is that that's why I call China it's an American colony that's independent. Because all we do is buy tons of our materials from them, and it's very hard to get your money back out of it. The only thing you get is material. In other words, you get goods and services, but you won't get your money back. And you can't be the world reserve currency country if that's all you can do. You've got to be able to, send the currency they sent in out. Can't be the cockroach hotel. So anyway, there it is right there. Just thought I'd show that. It does emphasize in my head, to think about that a little bit more than usual. All right, don't see any questions or anything. It's kind of quiet still. I guess everybody's still trying to get their game together from the weekend, the holiday weekend, which was short. I was so upset when I found out that we weren't closed on Friday. Oh my God! Because I got this message 2 weeks ago, with the Christmas one, and they made it look like it was going to happen again the following week. But no, that did not happen. So, all right, let's go over and take a look at the euro this morning. Let's see what the euro is doing. Let's get rid of that. I might park that in case someone asks about that. And there is the euro holding up in the weekly buy for a full second week, and you can see here still there. It tried to get into the sell there that day because we had the red and green, so it didn't. So it's been in a buy for 3 days now, going on a fourth. Doesn't seem to be too excited, but it's holding firm, so that's pretty cool. Let's see what it's doing on J4X. Right there. So let's see. Kick out. There it is. You can see a couple of greens in the hinky area on the bars. You can see the white line piercing and so forth. So it's doing a fine job, and that's the weekly. So it's showing strength in the weekly. And let's take a look at it on a daily basis. And there's the daily. I just want to take a look at euro again. Now I realize we looked at euro, but not with the daily, just the weekly. And it's still just moving down. All right, yeah, that's easily 8 days. So right there, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 going on 9th day, just like the way we are. You can see it over here. Right there. See that 8 in the box. Right there on the sell side. Now, from there, we'll jump over to cable. Right, let's see, where's it at? Right there. I think I got Mr. Ruble. I got the ruble there. There we go. holding relatively firm, but down a little bit today. You can see it's trying to aim down the same way Euro is. And you can see the weekly is holding up pretty well there. Let's put it on J4X. Right there, there we go. Quiet morning, traders. No one sees anything they want to ask about. Oh well, it's alright. I know sometimes it's just fun to kick back and listen. So you can see there, you know, the weekly and the daily doing its fine job. Let's just check it out on the weekly here. Same thing, lifting up, doing the thing, except for it's a third week here. But it looks like it went into buy last week. Let's expand that. Yeah, I think so. It's just last week. I can tell the date on that. Is that is the 19th. Yeah, so it was last week that it went into the buy. Alright, from there we'll go over to the Turkish lira and see what they're up to. First we'll look at dollar Turk. Right there. You see there it's getting green today. You see here it never went into the sell at all. It's in a daily buy for a few days here now, but a little pressure there this morning. Let's see how it looks on the weekly. Oh, that's the weekly. Let's go to the daily for it. Something fell. Headphones. As we take a sip of water too at the same time. Oh, that was a mouse. There we are. Over here on the Turkish lira, we look at the Euro Turkish lira, which we find to be very insightful. Right there. Same thing, a little pressure on it, not much. And the weekly is literally trying to hold on to the top of the manifold still. Interesting. So they shook it out of there and it's trying to lift up in there. Let's take a look at it over on J4X. Right there. No, that's not it. Right. There, I got TRY. Let's see how that looks. That is the daily. Daily is looking very firm. Let's see how the weekly looks on there. So yeah, you know, I'll go back to that while we're waiting for the weekly. You know, world reserve currency, blah blah blah, and currencies in general. There doesn't seem to be anywhere to go but where we're at right now, which is ugly. Especially with this quantitative easing thing going on. That's another thing too. Imagine if they were, well, I guess if they were paying interest on all that is trillions, then they'd even have less money. There'd be more pressure on them. That's why they had to go minus. You can see here there's the euro on the weekly still pressing down compared to our work that's saying, nah, it's staying. Staying in its position and holding up. Alright, from there we'll go to Canadian. There it is. The Canadian's doing a little bounce there, but nothing major. Just trying to push its way back up again. You can see that. J4X has those red hankies matching with our red dots. Looks like fourth day on a sell, second week in a sell, so the pressure is on the Canadian in a good way for the Canadians. Less Canadians to the dollar. With that, said, I guess we can assume, well, you can see there the daily chart, it's pressing up right now. So I guess we're looking at a flat gold, maybe even down a little bit. Oil probably the same way. So let's drift over to that and see what's going on there. That's not gas. There's crude oil, pretty much flat, but up just a couple ticks, but playing with its daily sell, and it's went into its weekly buy last week, so we're trapped in the neutral there. Gold, right there, is down for the day, but has not pierced the daily, and the weekly is bouncing comfortably off of the zero line. So you can see there and that's in a world that I know I rag on this too, inflation. And that chart we put up, you can see the inflation took the U.S. dollar's world reserve currency percentage down dramatically. Now you got to wonder on QE how much currencies are now being pumped up and held by other countries. So in other words, before probably people barely ever thought about buying New Zealand. Well, Australia always seemed to be something people traded. It was almost like basically one of the majors, really, because of the interest rate factor and the commodity factor. But now I think a lot of these little currencies, the reason we're down from 71 to 60 or 59, I would say, is because the QE is probably propping up those other currencies to share the burden of being a world reserve currency. There's a burden to that. Unfortunately, our political people on one side of the political spectrum find it as an excuse to just spend money like as if there's no tomorrow. They keep on saying, "Hey, you don't have to pay it back; it's for free." Only a politician could say something like that and not get carried out the door at the same time. Let's see. So that is what's going on from the Canadian side of things, the metals complex and the energy complex. Now we'll jump over to the South African Rand. Again, we expect that to be moving up just a teeny weeny little bit. There it is right there. No, it's not. Look at that. It's coming down nicely still. I'm impressed. It's actually threatening a sell. We closed in a weekly sell 2 weeks ago, and we're in a sell now, and it looks like it's driving itself back down to where we went into the weekly sell in here. So in there we went into the weekly sell. Right around in here. So it's back down at that now, just about, making the lows as a support. Maybe this will be some indication that we start to see this thing sell off, and we start to see dollar get going. Not dollar, I'm sorry, currency, not currencies, metals. Start seeing the metals finally get going. I just don't understand how we can have all this inflation and we get no effect from it. I mean, we're feeling it, filling our vehicles up and buying food and all this other stuff, but we're not seeing it in equity prices or in currency prices or anything else. We're seeing it in commodities, of course, and we're looking at all these grains and so forth at all-time highs. All right. Do we have anything else? No one's saying anything. All right. All right. Now let's jump over to the ruble. Right there. And you can see there's the ruble moving down, but has not pierced the daily sell yet. The weekly's been holding up for weeks now, and it's just kind of sideways up. It went down from this. We went to a sell there. It just stayed in that sell for a long while to here. We got a little pop out of it right there, and right back into a sell again, and now we're back into the buy again. So the two buy signals we got have been healthy out of that. Was that 2, 4, 6, 8 out of the 8-week run, and today is giving us a little pressure there. daily in there. And a lot of times when you see this top in this product, you get that red candle. So we're looking to see when they try to roll the euro, or not the euro, the ruble down. Same thing here. So that was a small move down. That was a bigger move down, and maybe we'll see another repeat, and we'll start to sell down a little bit. That'd be nice. Mr. Biden and Mr. Putin had meetings last week. I don't know if anything really came out of it. They're kind of quiet about it also. The media's not really reporting much. Next will be the yen. There's the yen there. It's been holding up very firm. Weekly buys and daily buys. As you can see, the action in the yen's been that long, steady run. Same thing here, long, steady run, holding up in a daily buy right there, and the weekly is firm and lifting still. So they're not putting any pressure on these products whatsoever at the moment. Now this is the new year, so it'll be very interesting to see how this plays now in the next couple of days. And then it'll be the first week, and they do all that other stuff and dances of how the week goes the year or something like that, or the month or the year, or both. It's that type of interpretation thing. We just follow the math. And then last but not least, we zip over to the Mexican peso right there. Right there. On J4X, you can see it's been a nice, long, steady push south. On Chicago, you can see here. You see that has been in a sell since the little hump here. What's that mountain? Right there. Since this hump here, of a couple of days of buying, we've been in a sell since that, all the way down, and then we slid into a weekly again here, whereas on this, it's in a weekly sell much longer. No, not that longer. I guess maybe 3 weeks back, something like that. So we're going on a third week here. All right, that finishes off our currencies. If anybody cares to see one, we will go back to them if you would like to see it. What we're going to do now is go check out the stock indices. There is the Nasdaq 100. There it is. Alright. You see here the NQ's firm, trying to lift. Same thing here, except for we don't have a red dot. I mean, we don't have a green dot here. We just have a red dot, but it's below the line. So the daily is real sloppy at the moment, whereas the weekly launched itself last week and it's holding up really nice. Let's check it out over here. Yeah, same thing here. It launched itself last week. Let's see what the daily looks like over here. Milan, how you doing? Canadian Swiss, please. All right, let's see what Canadian Swiss looks like. That could be fun. I have not looked at that in a while. There's Canadian yen. And let's see, what's that? That's Swiss. That's CAD Swiss, okay. There's CAD yen. Let's make it so you can see what we're looking at here. We're going to throw it up on J4X too real quick here. CAD. There it is. CAD Swiss. And let's see, there's Euro Swiss. Let's throw CAD Swiss in there. USD. Swiss, there it is. So you see over there on the J4X, the daily's been firm in the buy for a couple days. Same here, we've been in a buy for one day. This is our second day. Let's throw a line in there. There's got to be a line right here somewhere, I think. Where are you? Let's fix this and move it over. There we are. There we go. And we can put it in there. So there's the daily buy there. It's been, let's put it down here. Right there. Daily buy there. It's in a going on, look at that, it's going into the weekly buy today as we speak. We've been in a weekly sell since back here. And that's been a nice one. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this a little bit better. We go like that and try to push on that a little bit more so you can see them better. There we are. And then from there, let's see. So you got a sell. What do you got here? You got a sell throughout this whole stuff. Goes into the sell there. At the end of the next week, or the end of the week, and then going into the week, it goes into a sell. So it doesn't really go. Most of the selling has been done. Then looks like it goes into a buy right there. It goes buy, sell, buy. That's what it is. Buy, sell, and then buy again. Like that. Day to day. There we are. And then it goes into a sell right there. Let's put that in. And it jumps back up 2 days later right there. It goes into a buy right there. So 3 days later. Yeah, 3 days later. And tells us that it's going to be volatile. And we are in a weekly sell, so you can't take that trade. So the only trades you can take is the shorts. And that short was okay. You made money off of it. You know, you can see all the way down to here, like 74.5. You know, closing at 74.34 in the sell. And it trades all the way down to there, and then by the end of that day, it's back up again. Money management there, guys. And then it goes into another sell right here. No, that didn't do it. Right there. And that's a good ride, because you're 5 days it down. And then we go into a buy right there. So you don't want to be short. Obviously by the end of that day for sure, if not sooner. Just because of the way it's been going. And then you can't take the long because we're still in the sell. We've been in the sell since here. So it finds ways to go down. Then we go into a sell right there, is it? Or there? Let's see. Okay, so it's a buy right there. There's your sell right there. That you can be short, and that's another winner chicken dinner. Doesn't go into the buy until right here. So you're given all kinds of opportunity to catch from 72.5 basically all the way down to 71. And then what do you got here? You got a buy here, but we're still in that weekly sell, so you don't want to be long, you just don't want to be short at this point either. So there's right there. And 2 days later it goes into sell, and there's a nice little win out of that. Right there. There we go. And then it's a nice little win, nothing major, and then let's move that out of the way. And it looks like it went into the buy on Friday. So, and we're now flirting with a weekly buy as we speak too. So the product is definitely, it's been okay. You made money from it, that's for sure. Millen says, or should I call you Jansen? Jansen? Milan? Milan? How about Milan? Milan sounds easy. Thank you very much for your analysis, Doc. No problem. I love doing new research all the time. We're going to go like that. We'll throw it in there. We're going to keep this up for a couple days, just in case you decide to look again. All right, there's the buy. Now this is interesting, is it's trying to get into the weekly buy. Now let's see what it looks like on J4X, since it's all right there. On the daily, you can see it's lifting up, just like we are. And let's check out where it is on the weekly. There's the weekly. It's got a green hinky, but it hasn't busted through yet. Getting close. We'll have to keep an eye on this over the next couple of days, see if this turns up, even with it just sitting here. It'll be interesting to see how the J4X joins in. All right, where were we? We were getting ready to look at the Nasdaq 100, or the Tech 100, depending on what you want to call it. But everybody trades it, that's for sure. Because it is, it's the big boy on the block, it really is. Let's go back over to there. There we are. You can see here it's climbed into a weekly sell last week. We're moving up, but we're in the daily sell still, so it's a neutral at the moment. Can't be shorted, that's for sure. Now let's take a look at. Let's see what else we look at. Let's go take a look at the S&P 500. There, same situation, and I get a little volatility signal. It's trying to lift up. It's in a weekly buy. J4X right there. We had it on J4X. Right there it is. So there's it on J4X, the Nasdaq 100. Turning up nicely now on compared to the. I guess I could have sworn we just looked at it and the weekly wasn't turning up. So is it the daily it wasn't turning up? Let's check the daily. Nah, that's what it is. The daily is not turning up. Just like ours. Same situation. Now let's look at the S&P 500 with it. Right there. And the daily on that is trying to get to the edge. So we're probably, our white line's got to be, oh, look at this. It never went into a sell on the S&P 500. This thing is still holding up. Let's take a look at the weekly on that. And it's filling in, and there it is. It's been through the weekly buy for 2 weeks. So it's holding up, what is it, 2 weeks, going on a third week. So they've been pushing on the J4X. It has never let go. It's just been aggressively pushing on the upside there. Indeed, indeed. All right. From there, we'll go take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Right there. See, the Dow's been in like the Dukascopy in a weekly buy for a couple of weeks, going on its third week. See it right here. Right in here, been in that buy since back in here. Yeah, look at that. They've been green for a while. There's 2 weeks right there, and that's a third week, I'd assume. Maybe it's just 1 week right to there, so it might be like there to there. So it's 2 weeks going on third on Dukascopy 2. But the Hinkies have been green for 5? Yeah, 3, 4, 5. The Hinky bars. Alright, and now looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Alright, I think we've done it all. We got the weekly in there and the daily, right? Let's see what the weekly looks like. I'm sure it was, yeah, it was the full week series right there. Okay, good. We've got it all lined up there. There's the 3 major stock indices out of the United States. If anybody wants to see another one, just shout it out. We'll go look at it. Let's see. I'm looking around to see if there's anything else brewing at the moment. Nothing really. You know, we have the S&P 500 up 26 points. That's a lot. We have the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 144. Normally it would be up like 244. So there's a little pressure on that. And then we're looking at the NQs, Nasdaq 100, Tech 100. That's up 120 points. That's pretty impressive also. They play ratios on those things. People trade ratios. It's you know, at this point in time, they're obviously buying the NQs compared to everything else, and the S&P 500 feel it because they have a lot of NQ stocks in there. All right. Let's see. Guess that's about it. Now we can go over to the metals complex and finish off that. Let's take a look at silver. We saw gold. There is silver. It's holding up over the 23 area. On us, we're getting pushed down now overall though. And you can see our daily is getting pressure. But it climbed into the weekly buy last week. Let's put the line in there. Let's save that. Save workspace as. There we go. Alright, and that's the answer to that. You can see silver was trying and is trying, but is feeling the pressure. Let's just go back, take a quick look at gold. Oh, let's do this. Let's quickly look at it on J4X too well here. There it is right there. Let me see. Let's move that up. Yeah, see it closed second week in a buy. Well, why is that second week in a buy? It should be 1 week in a buy. I wonder if it's copper is the other way around or something. There you go. Let's do a file save on that. Alright, and there is the silver. Feeling a little pressure, but the weekly signal is not warning us about anything particular. The daily is. The daily is trying to show us that there's a little selling going on. I don't know. You know, it's like as if fundamentals mean nothing anymore. I really have a hard time. You know, you would think at least it would be up at the 25.5, 26 area because of the inflation. Why it's sitting down in the 22s and 23s is an enigma to me. It does make it gives you a headache almost. No wonder Janos pulled his video on it. After a while, he probably got frustrated. Even with the video itself basically making total sense, we do miss that video. Alright, let's see. From there, we'll go over to copper. There's copper. You see in our work, you know, bouncing back and forth. It's in a second day of a buy, but with a volatility signal. It's a second week in a buy with copper. So they're trying to do something with it. It's at the high end of the range. the pressure is definitely on copper. I guess you can't have all these electrical things without some copper. So copper is becoming the commodity of choice for the technology age. Alright, let's see what platinum's doing. The last I saw was still a weekly sell. This is April platinum. It's coming up, that's a good part. And it's 2, 4, 6 full weeks in a sell. At least silver found a way to get them to buy, so you gotta figure it. Platinum maybe? Boy, if you could only trust the fundamentals, it would be like a great buy. Alright, over the energy complex, let's go back to the, there's the front month in crude, right there. Touching the, pushing through the weekly sell, but pushing also through the weekly buy of 1 week, acting like it wants to be a second week of it. And there is it right there. Now we'll take a look at that back month. We have a client looking at the June contract. Spring crop of oil. Spring crop. Right there. You can see it's doing the same thing. Went into a sell on Friday. A little pressure on it today, and the weekly is 2 weeks in a buy going on the third. So again, that's stuck in neutral also. In other words, you don't really want to be long it, you don't want to be short it, you want to be in neutral of it right now. Now if it goes into a daily buy, then you can get long it since you're in a weekly buy. And as long as the lines are above the zero line here, on this chart right here. Alrighty, from there, let's see what we got. Let's see, so that's light sweet crude. Natural gas. I saw natural gas showing weakness again. I was like, what? With that arbitrage in Europe, it's amazing. There it is. Just down a little bit, but you can see on the third day of sells. It's been in a weekly sell for a while now. Since that's end of October, we've been in a weekly sell since the since the $6 area. And now we're what? 360 area, 370 area, something like that. 369.10. Let's take a look on J4X, see how that looks, and then we'll go over and take a look at that British grid contract. There's our natural gas, so you see that 360.87 offer. Then let's jump over to, let's fill in first. There's lots of red there. Then jump over to, that's a weekly too. Let's see what the daily looks like. There it is. Pressure for the last couple days. Yeah. There's right there. And right there, I guess. So it's been a sell since right there. And let's see what that British pound product looks like. That kind of shows us what they're doing with oil, natural gas in Europe. Is that it? It's right there. I got it. Okay. Keeps on hanging up there, and that is tens, 1,066. That's not the most bearish thing, but it is breaking down. You see that right there. But then, when you scrunch this up, we're at the bottom end of a range again. Are they going to give us one of these and then take off again, like it did here and there, and a little teeny one right there? So it's awful hard to want to be short that at the moment, even with it like that on the daily. Now let's see what it looks like on the weekly. Probably still green. Yeah, that's still green. And we don't get that on our charts, so we can't show you what our math is doing on that. All right, what else we got brewing here, traders? So that's the commodities. That kind of finishes off the commodities. I guess we got to come up with a title for this too. It's been a quiet webinar. did just a couple things. For others, pretty much most of our work was just going through our random. If anybody has an idea before I get off, we can go hunt down another product. When it comes to the title of it, I guess you'd say we were just looking at all the products. I guess we could look at cable or something like that, or euro, and what else can we say? They're obviously firm. Swiss still firm. Maybe that's what we'll label this as dollar Swiss still running, or still making new, or not new lows, but making lows. Because we've been saying in a lot of our titles about what was it? It was the British pound and the euro. We've said how it was firm, and it is. All right. But that's what we need to do now, is come up with a title for this. I don't see anybody putting anything out there that has a question on anything particular. What can I show you that I haven't showed you so far? I mean, there's plenty of things out there. I keep on thinking they're going to, drive the, we're going to see Apple go to like Apple Computer go to $3 trillion company. It needs to get to 82 and change. Let's see what they're doing with that. Let's put that up there for the fun of it. Let's put that over there. Let's see how far away it is from there. Since the stock indices, we're fighting to try to get back into the buy. And here it comes. You can see in the pre-market, it's at, and that's Tesla. Right there, I see that. Just up a little bit at 178. Let's see, show you this. Right there, it's 178. That's the wrong one, isn't it? Let's go back here again. Right. So if it trades to 182.84, it becomes a $3 trillion company. That could keep a lot of people excited and happy. A $3 trillion company. Wow, it just shows you how much cash is out there. Let's see, dollar Swiss still strong. I guess that's what we're going to do today. We'll define that as our title. No one's come up with anything, so I guess that's what we'll stay with. Dollar Swiss strong against the dollar. See, dollar Swiss pair, or Swiss still. I guess we can say something like Swiss still strong in this pair's trade. In this pair, Swiss strong, Swiss still strong in this pairs. Cool. All right, traders, I guess we'll get out of here. No one seems to want to see anything. And I guess that's about it for the time being. So tomorrow, maybe we'll have some news today. Things will start to become more exciting in the sense of a little bit more, value. I don't know. Unfortunately, traders, we talk about this a lot. Fundamentals are just not where it's at. So it's very dangerous to think that you can make decisions through fundamentals only. You got to use that technical analysis. And you can see what we do over here on J4X, the combination of slow stochastic against the fast, and a daily and a weekly, that type of thing, with hinky bars giving you a good flavor of the trend. And that's pretty much where we're at. All right, traders, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Catch you later, traders.